Right lads, how's it going? Welcome back to another video on this channel. In today's video we are going to be discussing Harry Kane potentially leaving Tottenham Hotspur this summer, because it has just been released on Sky Sports in this last hour or so that Harry Kane has actually asked to leave Spurs this summer, and there's a few clubs willing to pay the fee for him, and that he could potentially be interested in joining as well. Those three teams include Manchester City, Manchester United, and of course my club Chelsea. So in this video what we're going to be doing is basically going through Harry Kane's options he has this summer. Will he leave Spurs? Won't he leave Spurs? And if he does leave Spurs, which team will he in fact go to? So yeah, let's get straight into this video now. So we'll start off with what we know at this moment in time about Harry Kane and his, current situation at Spurs. And in my personal opinion, I think he needs to leave Spurs. I've said this for, countless months, if not years now at this stage. A world-class player like Harry Kane, in my personal opinion, one of the best strikers, if not the best striker and most complete striker in the world of football at this moment in time, and has been for a few years now. The most goals and most assists in the Premier League this season. He's been absolutely unbelievable for Spurs over the last few years, and this season especially as well. He's absolutely carried them to where they are at this moment in the Premier League table. They're currently 6th place in the Premier League table, and I can safely say, in my opinion, Spurs would be probably bottom half of the table if Harry Kane wasn't delivering at such an unbelievable record for Spurs this season. I personally think he needs to move this summer. I think he needs to pursue, the goal he does have of, winning trophies at the highest level. I think Harry Kane is a player that needs to be competing for the Premier League, for the Champions League, for every single major honour in world football, on a weekly basis, on a yearly basis, and definitely, I think Harry Kane definitely deserves and needs a move this summer away from Tottenham Hotspur, especially because I think he's like 28, 29 years of age now. He's coming out of his prime at this moment in time. He maybe has like 2 or 3 more years at the top level of football. I think it's now or never for Harry Kane in terms of actually winning the honours he wants to win in his career. But there is a lot of question marks over whether he'll actually, first of all, be allowed to leave by Daniel Levy, because of course we all know how stingy Daniel Levy can be and how stubborn he can be in his business overall. Spurs are not going to want to sell Harry Kane. I think it's pretty evident, because obviously he's their only actual world-class player, you could argue. Heung-min Son and those kind of players as well. But Harry Kane is the kingpin. He is the guy in that Spurs team. And if they were to get rid of Harry Kane, it would be a really hard, prospect to actually replace Harry Kane in this Spurs team. And obviously, they'll get a lot of money for him, but how much money they will get is anyone's guess. I mean, there's probably going to be like 100 million minimum, probably 150 million. You're looking at maybe even 170 million for Harry Kane to be sold to one of our Premier League clubs in general, because if you're looking at, as I said, the clubs that want to buy Harry Kane this summer, you're looking at Chelsea, Man City and Man United. I can't really see him going abroad. Apparently he doesn't want to go abroad, and it would make sense if he didn't really, because he's looking at Alan Shearer's record and as in terms of the most Premier League goals in the history of the league itself, and I think he'd probably want to stay in the league. Overall, if you look at the 3 clubs he's linked with, first of all you go into Man City. Obviously, in my personal opinion, probably the most ideal option for him, considering the fact that first of all they'll be able to afford him, they'll be able to afford his wages and give him good wages, they'll be able to give his agent really good fees. Daniel Levy will get the fee he wants, as I said, and overall of course City aren't in, you could say, direct competition with Spurs, and he wouldn't really tarnish his legacy with those Spurs fans. And of course as well, in terms of what's good for Harry Kane, he gets to play alongside world-class players every single week and is, highly likely to win trophies every single season without fail. So I think City is probably the ideal option for Harry Kane in terms of moving this summer. If you look at Manchester United, I mean, first of all, if we go through the points again, like I mentioned, United will be able to afford him, they'll be able to afford his wages, they probably will be able to afford his agent fees as well, they will be able to give him first team football, like of course any team that he does join. He'll be able to play with world class players like Pogba, Fernandes, you could even say Rashford and those kind of players. The only thing about United is they're not really a guarantee for trophies at this moment in time, and like Man City, they're not guaranteed with their manager. I know Solskjaer is doing really well this season, and I do think he deserves a lot of credit for where he's taken United in these last few years, but overall there's still, there never really will be certainty over the future of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Manchester United in general, especially with the Glazers and the uncertainty over their ownership at this moment in time. And then of course we move on to my club Chelsea as well, and in determining the interest that maybe Chelsea have in Harry Kane, of course the prospect of staying in London, certainly for his wife as well, I think that will be a very big factor that he does take into account when choosing his next club if he was to leave Spurs. Also the fact as well, going to it, Chelsea can afford him, they can afford his wages, they'll give Daniel Levy the money he wants. The only thing I can't see about that is the fact that Daniel Levy, we saw 10 or so years ago the trouble we had in trying to get Luka Modric out of Spurs to Chelsea, and they ended up selling him for 10 million less than Chelsea offered to Real Madrid the following summer, just because Daniel Levy was so stubborn and stingy. He didn't want to sell him to Chelsea, and that's the only real problem I can see in Harry Kane not joining Chelsea, simply because of Daniel Levy's impact in that deal. Because first of all as well, Chelsea will probably offer Harry Kane the trophies he wants as well. I know we haven't won a trophy probably in about 2 years now, but Chelsea are a club that are ambitious, they're on the rise once again in my opinion, and will compete for the biggest honours year year in, year out once again in the next few years. And of course then there is the possibility as well that he stays at Spurs, and honestly, I'm being perfectly honest here, I think he will stay at Spurs. I think it's going to be a simple situation of it rambles on for the whole summer. Will he stay, won't he? Which team will he go for if he doesn't stay? And yeah, overall I think it's going to ramble on the whole summer, with the fact that, you know, a lot of teams will be kind of reluctant and kind of trying to steer their own way in terms of negotiating a deal and trying to get the right price, and then the whole agent fees as well, the whole wages thing and everything like that. I think it's just going to be too complex of a transfer to complete over the space of one summer. I do think Harry Kane will stay at Spurs overall, but yeah, who knows, especially in this COVID market when Daniel Levy, of course, will be looking to cash in a few players and actually try and make a bit of money. So will it be Harry Kane that leaves? I'm not too sure, but nevertheless, it should be a really interesting summer of, you know, transfer rumours to see whether Harry Kane stays or goes to another club in the Premier League. And yeah, that will bring us to the end of this video. If you did enjoy this video, as per usual, if you could leave a like rating on this video, that would be hugely appreciated by myself. And also if you could subscribe to the channel as well, that would be hugely appreciated by myself. Once again, we are looking to hit 1.7k subscribers on this channel as soon as we possibly can, so if you were to hit that subscribe button right now, it would mean the absolute world to me. And yeah, that's where we're going to leave this video, guys. Thanks very much for watching, and see ya.